Am I the asshole for continuing to change in front of my window even after my neighbor complained? Early 30s bought a house last year with my fiancé, but we only just moved in a few months ago because it needed some work. Our neighbors are a woman, her husband, and their college-aged son. Everything was fine until a few weeks ago when the neighbor woman came over, visibly upset, and told me she saw me changing through my window and would appreciate if I didn't do that there. I was surprised because the angle of the window makes it so that someone would really have to go out of their way to see anything. I checked it out myself, and unless you're standing in a very specific spot in their yard, you can't see much at all. To be clear, no one in her family, husband or son, has ever mentioned seeing me. She was just worried that they might. I didn't feel like I should have to change my habits for her, especially since they'd have to be actively trying to look in. So I kept changing there, as I had been. Well, she came over again last week, this time freaking out at my fiancé, calling me a whore, and accusing me of being disrespectful. I honestly think it's ridiculous because I'm in my own home and I'm not flaunting myself. Her husband came over and apologized and said he asked her specifically not to do that, and clarified he hadn't ever mentioned seeing me nor had his son. My fiancé told me to just get new blinds or try to change in a different area, but I think that's bullshit and have been doing as I have since I moved in. Am I the asshole? Not the asshole, but it sounds like you don't have blinds, curtains, and are changing in front of a window. Why? Not the asshole, but why not move a couple of feet? Going out into the yard and analyzing how easy it would be to see you, that's something you're willing to do. But moving 2 feet is so easy. Sounds like you'd like to be seen. Which is fine, but don't make the excuse that you are going to do what you've always done. That's just silly. Sounds like your fiancé would prefer to avoid problems with the neighbor, and why not, when avoiding ongoing issues is so easy? Not the asshole, but it is weird that you refuse to take a few steps to keep your neighbors from seeing you naked. In the United States, nudity is generally illegal on a person's own property if the nude person is visible to the public, such as through an open window or sunbathing naked in the yard. Just to be safe, you might want to check your state and local laws and make sure you're in the clear. You are the asshole. Your neighbor has let you know that you can be seen naked changing and you're giving her shit for it? Get blinds. I checked it out myself, and unless you're standing in a very specific spot in their yard, you can't see much at all. Are you seriously telling us that you went into the neighbor's yard and stood in every part of it checking your window? Did she invite you in, did you trespass, or are you lying to us? You can't see much at all, so you can see in. Did you have your partner stand where you usually stand to get changed while you were in the neighbor's garden checking the view? If you actually did that. If not, you can't tell how much of a body could be seen. You are the asshole, either because this is at least partially made up, or because you are trying to upset people. Or you are an exhibitionist. Grow up. Am I the asshole for leaving my 28F sister, 32F, out of my will? 28F, I'm going to get euthanized because of pancreatic cancer. I have a stepsister, Lily, 32F, that I met when we were 9. We had been pretty close when we were young, but then our parents got divorced back when I was 15. We tried our best to keep in contact, but we weren't that present in each other's life until I went to college, 19. My father passed after a few years later, 23, leaving me with all of his assets. Lily seemed happy for me and later tried to convince me to pay for her mother's medical bills, who was still going through her recovery process after getting into a car accident. I refused because I didn't see a reason why I had to pay for her bills. Lily was earning enough to support herself while paying the medical bills, and I hadn't met her mother in almost 10 years. I was going for a master's PhD and wanted to save the money to pay for my college fees, and I did. Lily stormed out of my life, hoping I would die a painful death because of how heartless I was. She then went on to date my ex-boyfriend from high school, whom I couldn't care less about, by the way. I was diagnosed with pancreatic cancer the same year and it was already too late. I recently caught pneumonia. It's been a little over a year and I hate everything, which is why I went through all the legal stuff and everything. I wrote a will. This was probably the only thrill in my life at this point. I had always wanted to write a will ever since I was a kid, since I had my assets and left her out of it. Yes, we've been in contact, but I have more important people in my life, like the people from the orphanage down the road. No, I don't have any blood-related family left. She came in and threw a fit about me being a bitch to my own sister. Well, she said people of Reddit would devour me up, so here I am. Am I the asshole? Edit. I'm aware euthanized is used for pets, normally, but medically assisted death makes me feel too close to death, so I'm going to with euthanized, now and forever. Edit. I told one of her cousins that I'm close with because I was leaving her a few $1,000s for teaching me chemistry for free when I was in high school. She's also an angel. She must have told her mother, who happened to have a slip of tongue. I got a good laugh out of some of the comments here though. Not the asshole. She wasn't entitled to your father's assets and she isn't entitled to your assets. Add to that she wished you a painful death and I am very happy she doesn't benefit from getting her wish. I hope it goes as painless as possible and wish you smooth sailing with the practical things. Remember to either write, "I leave, name of stepsister, nothing, or $1 or whatever so she can't contest it and say you forgot her. Good luck. Not the asshole. Even if things hadn't broken down in such a way for you both, you are quite capable of deciding to leave your assets to whomever you want. I always suggest, though, that if people want to make sure that someone who might try to make a retroactive claim on your passing, that you leave them a pound, dollar, add your own denomination, with a note to say yes, you thought of them, and no, you don't want them having a penny more. If Lily stormed out of your life 5 years ago, how did she even know you wrote a will, let alone the contents? Also, I have never heard anyone refer to medical-assisted death as euthanized. You should absolutely leave your estate to whomever you feel is the most deserving. Your father had an opportunity to leave Lily a portion of his estate and decided not to, so you should do what brings you peace. Sorry you're going through this, and not the asshole. How did your stepsister find out about your will though? I recently drew up a will and it's between me and the lawyer who drafted it. My dad knows about it because he helped me with it. Other than that, the only way someone would find out if they're in it or not would be if I told them. Just make sure they can't make a claim afterwards by arguing that you forgot or was not in good mental health. Write specifically that you don't want them to have any. Not the asshole. Edit. I am sorry for your situation. Am I the asshole for not telling my friends I am technically our landlord? So I, 18 female, am very lucky in that I have two very hardworking parents that are successful and love me. We aren't mega wealthy, but we are very comfortable as my parents are extremely smart financially. We own multiple houses as part of our real estate portfolio that we rent out for extra income. I recently started college and as a present for working hard and getting into my dream school, my parents gifted me one of our houses that is near my college. I was going to inherit them all anyway, but I really appreciated their gesture. Where I live, real estate law is a little tricky and we would have to pay significant taxes to officially transfer the house to me, so we decided to have my parents own it legally for now. The house is pretty big with 4 floors, including a fully furnished basement, and a roomy attic, and since it is near my school I decided to look for roommates so I could start earning money early. So far I have 2 roommates, who we'll call Sasha, 18 female, and B, 19 female, who also go to my school. We have been living together for a couple months now. They moved in around August, and we are all pretty good friends, and very compatible roommates. This is where I might be the asshole. I didn't want to tell them that I owned the house as I thought it might create a weird dynamic between us, and I didn't want them to view me any differently. We split the bills and rent, with me technically paying nothing. Since my father legally owns the house and we have different surnames, I took my mother's last name. They have no idea I own the house or that my dad just sends the money back to me. Sasha recently found the money my dad sent back while I was at class and told B, and they cornered me about it a few days ago. I told them everything and they're mad at me for hiding this from them and think I'm not only in the wrong for keeping it a secret but for making them pay rent in the first place. The house's mortgage has already been paid off, so the rent goes entirely into my pocket. I responded by saying that they shouldn't have gone through my mail in the first place and that it was illegal, which I'll admit was kind of a low blow. We weren't friends when they moved in and the whole point of me wanting roommates was so that I could earn extra cash, so I don't see why I should let them reside for free. Am I the asshole here? Edit 1. People in the comments were asking. Basically we have a system where whoever is home brings all the mail in and puts it on the kitchen island. B brought the mail in but Sasha opened my mail before I got home. My dad doesn't send me straight up cash lol, he mails 2 checks, with the amount Sasha and B paid. And when Sasha saw the checks from the landlord to me with the exact amount of her and B's rent, she put 2 and 2 together and interrogated me when I came home. I don't know why she opened my mail in the first place. I've never noticed her snooping before, but maybe she has and I just never saw. Edit 2. Okay, answering a couple things I keep seeing in the comments. Yes, I know the assets aren't technically mine, but I have unlimited access to them. We'll inherit all of them one day. My parents have told me this directly, it's not an assumption, and my parents consider it equally mine. So yes, I consider them mine as well. I didn't earn them, I was just lucky enough to be born to amazing parents and I'm grateful to them for that. Generic comment about evil landlords. B and Sasha are not poor, and I'm not charging way above market price. If they felt the price was too steep, they could dorm, which is actually cheaper, or find a cheaper place. They are paying extra for luxury. I'm not exploiting broke children. Why use checks instead of e-banking? I do all of my business online, but my dad bought a fancy custom mailbox and he's trying, and failing, To convince my mom that it wasn't a waste, so he likes to mail everything now. I get letters instead of texts. Yes, it's ridiculous, and after this incident we'll definitely be doing our finances online only. I maintain that I'm not mega rich. Yes, I acknowledge that I'm extremely privileged compared to most other Americans, but in my head at least mega rich is people like my boyfriend's family that own actual mansions, and have yachts, or like celebrities and billionaires with private jets etc. Compared to most of my friends I'm middle class. Why I changed my last name when I'm on good terms with my father. My parents are both British Indian immigrants, and my dad has a super ethnic and long hard to pronounce last name, whereas my mom has a nice short and cute last name. When I apply for jobs people will judge me based on my name, and I don't want that. My dad faced that discrimination, and I grew up in a predominantly white community, so I know people's perception of you change based on how American, white you are perceived to be. Also my mom went through labor and 9 months of pregnancy, she deserves to have her last name continued. But for making them pay rent in the first place. And so your point is proven immediately. Not the asshole. But stop saying that you aren't mega wealthy. You got given a 4-story house in a college city as a graduation gift, and enough income that you can afford to live in a house like that with only 2 roommates. Your family is absolutely wealthy, and your attempts at trying to be humble make the teeth itch. I'm saying this because recognizing you are wealthy is an important part of you looking to change your viewing these sorts of interactions. Not the asshole, but why are you mailing money back and forth? That is so ridiculously risky. And you are very wealthy, don't try to play it down. We're not mega wealthy. No, you were just gifted a fucking mansion for going to school. Fuck right off with that bullshit for one. 2. You probably should have told them if you planned on either living with them for an extended period of time or becoming friends with them. As someone who's lived with plenty of roommates over the years, the worst ones have always been the liars and manipulators. You're young, so you have time to learn and grow and just be straight up with people. Your roommates seem entitled, yes they should have to pay, and you seem like you think you're humble but aren't, _Tsu, _. You're not an asshole for charging them rent, but you're the asshole for lying to them. Living with a landlord is different than living with an equal roommate, and they deserve the chance to decide if they want to do that. We aren't mega wealthy, but we are very comfortable as my parents are extremely smart financially. We own multiple houses. Stop lying to yourself, you are mega wealthy. That said, not the asshole, your roommates are entitled to think they deserve a place rent-free. In the future, it would probably be better to just be honest that you own the house. Stop reading it, real estate portfolio, you are the asshole. Am I the asshole for not using my trust fund to save my best friend from homelessness? In my country, every kid automatically gets a trust fund from the government that they receive when they turn 18, and the amount depends on how much the parents contribute to it. Most people get around 1-2K. My best friend received her trust fund back in April and got nearly £2,000. She was really generous and decided to treat our entire friend group to dinner at an expensive restaurant. She also bought us multiple gifts, including giving me a paintbrush set, a book, a ring, lip balm, and a scented candle. We all thought this was super sweet of her, and we were extremely grateful. A month later, I also received my trust fund on my 18th birthday. It turns out that my parents had saved up nearly £20,000. I knew they had been saving up money for me, but I didn't realize it was this much. I decided to learn from my friends' actions, and I took everyone out for brunch, and I bought them each jewelry. Not long after, my friend's family went through financial troubles. My friend used what was remaining of her trust fund to help out her family, but it wasn't enough. They're currently facing eviction if they don't pay the rent. My friend reached out to me last week asking me for help, begging me for over £100. I feel bad, but I refused. I'm going to uni very soon and I need that money. Buying gifts is one thing, but paying her rent might make her dependent on me, and she might continue asking me for rent money because I agreed one time. My friend was really upset at me, calling me selfish. She said it's not like I needed that much money since my parents would be paying for my uni fees and accommodation fees. Meanwhile, she has to take out student loans and get 2 jobs. She has 2 younger siblings aged 6 and 10, and she called me stingy for allowing them to be homeless even though I have more than enough to help. I felt guilty, but I told her it's not my responsibility to take care of her family. Am I the asshole? Not the asshole at all. Your friend's parents are letting her down, and it's not your responsibility to take care of her family. Honestly, taking everyone out and buying presents was mostly irresponsible. That money is meant to take you into adulthood, and pay for education or to help get into an apartment. Your friend probably learned it from her parents, the same parents who can't pay rent. It means her parents have burned every bridge and have no one in the world to ask for £100, except their 18-year-old daughter's friend. Lending money to people changes your relationship permanently. And not in a good way. Not lending money to people changes your relationship permanently again, not in a good way. I'm sorry this happened to you. Why are you both wasting your money on lunches and gifts? That is money your parents worked for so you would start a good life, not treat people to meals and give out trinkets. That money was wasted and now you need to stop. She most likely will ask for more and she will become a money pit with her needs. Take your money and invest it for your future. She isn't entitled to your money, but I can't imagine turning a real friend down for such a small amount of money. Your parents saved their money to put it in this saving scheme to give you a tax-free gift as you turn 18. And all of you wasted it on expensive meals and gifts for each other instead of putting it towards school and living expenses. That's why your friend who got £2,000 is now unable to take care of her parents, because you all have terrible money skills and would rather blow this money on each other than to be actual adults and be responsible. You are the asshole. You can drop £100 on brunch but not to help save her family from eviction. I get not wanting to turn into an ATM and setting boundaries like I can give you this, but it's a one-time thing, but you don't sound like much of a friend. A lot of these "Am I the asshole" posts could be avoided if people kept their mouths shut about their money. People shouldn't share financial info freely.